So in this lecture, we're going to be talking about you starting out with your mind map. When you want to start out with the mind mapping process, the first thing that you need to know is the core. What is the main idea? What is the topic that you want to explore? What is the problem that you want to solve, right? This is the core, this is the main idea that's going to develop your entire mind map. Your mind map is going to be based on that, meaning that whatever you're going to do in terms of mind mapping is going to revolve around this main idea or this concept. Now, some things that you need to note out. First, you need to ask yourself, is this core information or this main idea, is it worth it, or does it need for you to actually build a mind map for it? Because eventually, even if you learn mind mapping, you don't want to use it in every single task in your life, because mind mapping is not an easy process, especially if you use something that doesn't require mind mapping. You're not making it easier. You're getting more information out of it and making it more complicated when it's actually not that complicated. If you have an essay about 9/11, for example, and you decide to put that as a main idea and mind map it and start talking about the history of the USA and who discovered the continent and how it developed and all of that through the mind map, you'll get to a point where you're getting way off topic and your mind map is making you lose time more than you're actually using it to become more productive. It's getting it's getting in the way between you and finishing your essay. So, first thing, you need to make sure that the main idea needs a mind map. Now, once you know that it needs a mind map, the next thing you need to ask yourself is, what am I going to use the mind map for? So what is your goal? So in the example, you had an essay to write about the 9/11. What is your goal? Your goal is to use the mind map, which you shouldn't, as we said, because it's not a good fit. Maybe it is if you want to put it and then explore it in a way that you're putting all the different events that happened, all the different consequences, and all the different theories that came out and talked about it. Okay, then you're good. But then you need to ask yourself, what are you getting out of it, right? What are you doing the mind map for? In this example, it's for you to finish your essay. In another example, maybe it's for you to figure out a certain idea, or for you to develop a business, or for you to develop an app. Whatever it is, you need to keep it in mind, and you can even write it on the top of the page, on the top of the mind mapping page. Just write what you're trying to solve. Finishing the essay, for example, is when you write that, you'll be able to focus not just the core information, but all the other information on solving this specific problem. Sometimes putting this question even before starting with the core idea can also be good, because if you figure out the issue, if your issue is you need to write an essay, if you write that beforehand, then maybe you'll be able to figure out that by figuring out the ins and outs of 9/11 and the details, then I'll be able to finish my goal or accomplish my task, whatever it is. Then you know that making a mind map that goes through the ins and outs of this event will help you reach your goal. So if you don't really know what are you mind mapping, but you have a problem, first thing you need to ask yourself, what is the problem and what am I seeking? What is my goal? And then you'll start thinking about what it revolves around, and you'll be able to figure out what the main idea or the core idea is. If, for example, you're not satisfied with your body and the goal is to look better, then you know that the core idea would be a fitness plan, right? Whether it's working out or having a diet, you're gonna have a fitness plan. This is the core idea. And that's what's gonna put you on the right track to be able to tackle your goal or accomplish whatever you wanna accomplish properly, of course, and effectively. So then you have the big goal or the problem that you have, and then you write down the title or the name of the topic, which is the main idea. That's number one. What you need to do is you need to write it in front of you, visualize it, put a circle around it, or a square, or nothing at all. It's better for you to add a shape. Maybe you want to put the main idea in a square, and then we're going to talk more about branches and sub-branches later, but maybe then you want to put branches in circles and sub-branches in squares. It's up to you. But usually it's better to associate a certain shape or a certain color or certain shape and color to the main idea. Maybe having a circle that is red can do this association in your mind that this is something crucial, this is the main idea. Maybe you want to put a red circle around the main idea. Maybe you want to use, for example, the 3 colors that you use in traffic, green, yellow, and red. Red for it to be the main, a green to be the main idea where you start and you're going fast, and then branches are in yellow or orange-ish circles. That's where you're going to start slowing down, and then you have the sub branches where you need to stop and work on each and every one of them. That's a very quick example on how you can associate squares and circles and basically shapes and colors to your core information and eventually your mind map. And 3, adding image that relates the most to the topic. The visual draws attention and it makes associations. So it's not just adding a certain shape or adding a certain pattern to it, but also sometimes adding images or certain illustrations can help you recall these things better. And it doesn't only have to be images, it can be different techniques that can help you remember and associate and draw attention towards this certain topic or this certain idea. And we're going to talk about it more in the lecture related to memory and recall improvements. We're going to talk about something called mnemonic devices that can actually help and improve your memory a lot. But when it comes to this lecture, the main idea, the core idea, what you have to do is, first, you need to ask yourself what is the problem and what is the goal. Then you need to figure out what the main idea is and if it needs a mind map. And if it does, you need to know how mind mapping would actually help, whether it's writing the main idea, which is fitness, knowing that through fitness you'll be able to solve the problem, which is getting a body that you're satisfied with, for example. Once that's established, then you write the name of the topic, and then you put a certain circle or shape around it, and then you relate it by adding an image, a color, or certain other things that you can use to draw attention and associate it with other things for you to be able to recall it and basically store it in your mind properly, for you also to be able to brainstorm better eventually when you're doing the branches and the sub branches. So that's basically it for the main idea.